Hello guys, this is a demonstration of how to configure FTP on your machine. The one which you see right now is the configuration I'm using for creating my VMware virtual machine using Vagrant. Please note here, I'm configuring public network on this virtual machine so that I can use the public IP address of this machine from my physical machine so that I can connect over the network and check the FTP settings out of the machine. To do this, I already have created the virtual machine and I already have connected to that using Vagrant SSH command. Now I want to install FTP on this machine. Now there are two things in the FTP. One is called as FTP Server, the other one is called as FTP Client. This machine I'll be configuring FTP Server on it. So we'll have to install, you're using sudo command, sudo yum command, and we will install something called as vsftpd. vsftpd, it is the daemon. D stands for daemon. It is the daemon which is going to run behind the scene and will be used for running FTP service on this machine. The installation is already done. So I want to start that service. But before we start the service, we want to configure this vsftpd configuration file. To do this, I'm going to open sudo vim etc vsftpd vsftpd.conf. This is the file in which I will be configuring few things. Please note here, anonymous enabled has to be, in this case I'm saying no, because I do not want anyone to access this machine anonymously. I want only the user of this machine to access this FTP out of the machine or on the network. Local enable, you can see local users will be used here as a FTP client. Write enable, that means I can put the files or I can write the contents using that FTP command. This is the umask, which is used for creating a new file using FTP, and there are a bunch of other configuration parameters here. I'll be adding few more here. For example, I want to add something like let's say use local time, which is going to be yes. So when the file is going to get created, the local time set will be from the local machine. Then chroot local user means I want that local user to go for chrouting. Chroot local, sorry, it's going to be like list enable, which is going to be like yes. This is going to check all the users which are having an access to use that FTP. I'm going to use a user 1 there, so we'll configure that in a second. Next one is like PAM service name, which is going to be like vsftpd, and finally user list underscore enable, which is going to be yes. These are the parameters we'll be adding so that we can configure this virtual machine with the FTP service. Now I want FTP server to be used by one user, maybe we can call it as a username. So let's add a new user, add user 1. Let's set the password for that. Let's say passwd user 1. I'll be setting a small password here just for testing purpose. Now once the password is once the user is configured, I'm going to be adding his name inside chroot users. So probably I can say sudo vim etc vsftpd chroot underscore list, and this is the username I want to use for accessing this FTP over the network. Fine. So seems like our configurations are over. Let us start that FTP service. Sudo systemctl enable vsftpd. Enable will create a shortcut inside your systemd so that next time onwards this service will start automatically. And to start now, we can use start command. I want to check, start vsftp. I want to check if it is started successfully. I can check that by using status, and it shows that the service is running successfully. Wonderful. Now I want to check if the service is available for my let's say over the network so that I can check it from my other machine. But to do this, we have to configure our firewall as well. To configure the firewall, we can say firewall -cmd --add service. The service that I want to kind of configure here is FTP, and I want to add this rule permanently. Similarly, I'll just go back here and say configure firewall. Rather, configuration is over, so reload firewall, and the firewall got reloaded. I can check that using the FTP command here, but FTP command is by default not available, so you can install it by using sudo yum install FTP. This is the FTP client. The one which we just configured right now was a FTP server. Now we are going to install the FTP client, and we can check it by saying FTP localhost. I'm going to use FTP command and connecting to the same machine, localhost. It's asking me what's the username. My username is user1 and this is my password. I can see that login is successful. I can check which directory I'm in. I can see the I'm in the /home/user1. That's my home directory. I can upload the file. I can get the file. I can do what I want to do here. But I'm not going to do that right on this machine. So I'll be exiting out from here. And I already am running a Windows virtual machine on my machine right now. So I'm going to check if I can connect to this machine from my Windows machine. To check this, I can check IP addr show, IP address show, and it seems like my public IP address on this machine is 192.168.1.89. So I want to check if I can connect to this machine. So I can go back here, open command prompt and check by using ping 192.168.1.89. Seems like I can connect to that machine over the network, which means I can use FileZilla, which is FTP client available on Windows, and connect to that host 192.168.1.89. So this is the IP address. Username is user1 that we already have configured, and password for me is like test. So if I connect to it, it is saying like it is connecting to that IP address. Will take a minute or two. Oh, I'm sorry, it seems like I'm connecting to the wrong IP address. Sorry, it's not 189, it's 189 only. So it seems like it got connected successfully. I can see that. See here, I connected to /home/user1. So for example, if I go back to my, let's say, documents directory somewhere here, and if I create a new file, say new text file, let's say this is my document. Let's open this file and say this is created by Windows user. Let's save the contents of it. So this is the file I want to upload. To do this, I can go back to my documents. So just go above. This is the documents directory. This is the my documents.txt, the one which we just have created. Right click and upload, and the file will get uploaded here. Seems like the file got uploaded successfully on that server machine. I can come back to my machine right now, and I can also check that from here as well. FTP localhost, user1 is the user and test is the password. I can see I'm in the same directory right now. If I say ls, it shows me the contents of this file, or rather it shows me that file which I uploaded from Windows is now available here. Let's quit from here and let's continue using user1. This is the password. If I go to my home directory, if I say ls, this is the file I uploaded from the Windows. I can check the contents of it by saying my document, and I can see that this is the file which was created by Windows user. So this is a small demonstration how to configure FTP on your machine and how to access that FTP from another machine over the network. Thank you guys.